Okay, hey everyone. Today we're going to be discussing YMAX and ULTY. We're going to be comparing these two Yieldmax ETFs because they help me earn over 600,000 per year in dividends, 700,000. Okay, we're at 732,000 as you can see below. We keep this number at around, between 6 and 800,000 is what we can average per year with Yieldmax dividends. And ULTY and YMAX are big parts of that, but where should we put the next 10K of our money? Okay, we're gonna compare the two funds and talk about where we should put our incremental dollars, all of our dividends that we get each week, where should we put our next round of dividends, okay? And for that matter, which fund should we just focus on more in general going forward, okay? We're also up 19.98%, so 20% we're up year to date, and the S&P is only up 5%, the Nasdaq's up 4, the Dow's up 3, the Russell's up 0.5%. So how are we getting all this outperformance? It's with Yieldmax, Cornerstone, and Margin. They help us live financially free out of our brokerage accounts. If you need help doing the same, email me for my e-guides at akintodd48@gmail.com. You can also head to my website, Unconventional Wealth Ideas. We're leading the FIRE movement here at our channel. I have over 100 testimonials in here if you ever want to see them. They're just comments from my videos. You can't come in here and write testimonials, but I just take the comments from my videos. So there they are. You can see all about my e-guides here and our testimonials there. All right, so how are we outperforming? Again, it's with the Margin, it's with ULTY, it's with YMAX, and of course Cornerstone. We'll get into Cornerstone later, of course. But today we need to talk about how we're getting the performance going forward. Should it be with more ULTY as our focus or more YMAX? That's the big question on everyone's minds. And as you can see, our margin debt right now is $440,000. I've been adding to my debt. Members know who follow my members only trades. See that in my YouTube videos under the lives. Okay, you just go to my wall, follow my portfolio at any time there. And members know that once again, I have been adding to my margin debt. I've been buying some ULTY, and also I have a big surprise for y'all related to ULTY. We'll get to that in the middle of this video. Okay, I have a big surprise for you with ULTY, and I have huge announcement, a huge announcement for Defiance funds. Okay, one of my members brought me the information, so we'll get to all of that in 1 second. All right, so the first thing that you all need to be aware of when we're using margin at our channel is the fact that we have to do this safely, okay? We have to follow all the rules. And ULTY and YMAX help you kind of accomplish this because ULTY and YMAX are diversified. If you go to the holdings of YMAX, you'll see that basically this is the fund of funds for YMAX. They have many indexed plays in here, and we like YMAX. We've always been a big fan of YMAX, and ULTY is also diversified. It does not have all of the YMAX funds per se. It can have some random funds in there like an AppLovin, a TQQQ. And I like ULTY for its diversification as well. And we're going to break down the holdings and why I choose to put more in one of the other. But really quickly, you need to understand the maintenance with these two funds. ULTY is 50% maintenance and YMAX is 50% maintenance. So that's a good thing. And I asked Jay this weekend what he could do about the maintenance, okay? Because the maintenance is the whole key to living financially free out of our brokerage accounts. Here's ULTY, the maintenance is 50%. Same for YMAX, okay? YMAX, the maintenance is 50%. For every $1 you put in your account, if you're just now joining my channel, you get $4 of purchasing power. So I'm just using a fraction of this over $4 million in purchasing power to get ahead. It doesn't show 4 million, it shows 400,000 because I've used so much of my margin power already. I'm in 400,000 of debt. But again, it's helping us outperform. We're up 20% for the year, and we're earning over 700,000 per year in dividends. So the way to use this margin, utilize it properly and safely, is by understanding maintenance so that you can always keep a high enough cushion in your available withdrawal to not only withstand margin calls. We never even got close to a margin call in the recent crashes that we've had. Okay, the crash that we had with the tariffs never even got close. We outperformed the NASDAQ the entire time. Go see all of my videos. But you also want to be able to withdraw freely out of your account and pay your bills to live financially free. That's all tied to maintenance, and you have to understand what that is in order to understand my videos, quite frankly. If you need help understanding maintenance, that's in my Volume 3 e-guide. That was a big key that Jay told us was that he could negotiate the maintenance down. I know Will said he would try, but we don't know if Granite has the same influence as Yieldmax does, since their AUM has grown so much. So if we can get our maintenance lowered at E-Trade, that would be a huge tailwind for us, because that would increase our available withdrawal. That would distance us from a margin call. Obviously, we wouldn't even be close to a margin call after that. We never were close to begin with. Once again, I never am, because we know how to evade margin calls. We know how to outperform in down markets and up markets. I wrote all about that in my volume 70 guide, which I just released on the triple C's. That's how we got this extreme outperformance. But nonetheless, you want the lowest maintenance possible. And if Jay can get that down for us at E-Trade, that would be a huge deal, because it doesn't mean that I'm going to be buying more of Yieldmax. It just means that the current cushion we have would grow, and we could just earn these dividends safely without ever worrying about any stress with the market falling. We could just collect our income, our dividends, our passive income weekly and monthly without the worry. Okay, when people have lower maintenance at other brokers, they like to just go buy more Yieldmax, which puts them in more danger of a margin call should the market fall. And of course, they'll lose their flexibility to pay bills at the same time. So I just want to make sure that I'm safely outperforming 20%. I don't need 30 or 40%. 20% is just fine for me. So now that we got that out of the way with Ulti and YMAX, that they have 50% maintenance and that Jay may be able to negotiate that down, let's move on to the next part of this equation, which is, again, this huge news that I have for y'all that I said I would share with y'all with Ulti. And without further ado, that is SLTY, okay? SLTY is not out yet, so I don't even know why I'm typing this. But Ulti is the fund, Ulti, of course, that is the ultra option income strategy for Yieldmax. Here are the holdings for Ulti. We've already looked at the holdings in the past. It wouldn't hurt to look at them again. Obviously, you can see my past videos with Ulti, but here are the holdings right here. And you can see they have many index names, they have some high quality names, and they have some questionable names in there. But these questionable names have high volatility, okay? Like IonQ or Labu or Mara. They have high volatility, which is what allows them to get this high dividend yield of around 80% or so. And we need this kind of volatility to get this income. But as a result of these names being a little bit more volatile and speculative, you might not get the performance that you want in an Ulti like you would in a YMAX. And so that's important to note. But also, Ulti might have some issues of its own, underperforming in a down market. So if that were to happen and the bottom were to fall out from Ulti, we always talk about hedging it with YQQQ or hedging it with our options. Of course, we buy options. Every month I use my options insurance to hedge my account so that we'd make more money in the event of a crash than we lost. We were up thousands of percent with our options. Go check out my members only videos if you don't believe that. Some people are like, there's no way he was up 2,000% in one day in my put options. Yes, we were. Go look at the members only videos. They're always there for you to check out. And also, I send my SMS messages out every month. If you're in my SMS service, I give you my new options trades. Okay, in the 20-month option, you get my options trades there as a way of saying thank you for being part of that RO service. Because the 20-month service originally started for the Cornerstone rights offering announcement. Now I use it for all emergencies. If the market breaks the 200, or if there's a new fund launch for Yieldmax, something like that, then I'm going to announce it in the 20-month section. But anyway, we have nonetheless this other way to protect Ulti, okay? So we've been protecting with put options. That's also my volume 5 you got if you need help buying put options to insure your account. And we use YQQQ to hedge our account. Now we have this huge news, which Jay dropped yesterday on X Spaces, okay? I was on X yesterday. You can follow my Twitter at any time if you want to see what I'm doing on Twitter. It's Unconventional Wealth Ideas, okay, at Todd Aiken, Unconventional Wealth Ideas, I believe, right here. And you can see, therefore, all my latest moves on Twitter. And yesterday, again, we were on X discussing the latest yields with Yieldmax and this new fund for Ulti, which is SLTY. and it might not come out yet, so just be aware he was debating whether or not he should release SLTY. But if he does, that means we get to hedge Ulti and neutralize our risk. It's an amazing concept because we use this margin to get ahead, of course, and this margin is what helps us outperform because it acts as a separate account merged in with our own account. So even if we go flat for the year and the market's flat for the year and we're using this extra leverage to get extra income, well, then we're going to be up 0.5, whatever the market is, because this is 0.5 amount of leverage, okay, that I'm using on $1 million account. Okay, 500,000 would be 0.5, 50% on 1 million. I'm at around like 0.3% right now. So if we were to use our margin with Ulti alone, all right, and get this 80% yield, which would pay down our margin so fast, my dividends of over 700,000 per year will pay down my margin. That's why I don't have a fear of this margin debt. My available withdrawal is too high to worry about, but also my leverage goes away within a year anyway. So I can't afford to keep margin off. I have to keep margin on. And so when I'm doing that, let's say I'm doing that with Ulti once again, I could just neutralize Ulti with SLTY, and then my margin risk is gone. I could do 200,000 Ulti, let's say 200,000 SLTY. We're getting all that extra income with the risk neutralized with our margin. Now, Jay was saying that, the correlation might not be 1 for 1. Yeah, I get that. But when we hedged Tesla and Crash, for example, in the recent downturn with the market, those did very well for us, okay? And same for Misty and Winter. And Jay even said Winter is one of his favorite projects. I think I remember him saying it's one of his favorite projects along with Ulti. So you have now the ability to get all this extra income, which I think is the big deal with Yieldmax, okay? Me and Marcos were just sitting out on the rooftop thinking about the possibilities with Yieldmax going forward because they're actually giving you all of the income that you need to live financially free from your 9 to 5 or to increase your income and give you more pressure, take the pressure off of yourself at your 9 to 5. Yieldmax is allowing you to do this. They sacrifice the upside for many of these funds, but they give you the income instead. As long as you keep the shares, well, then you keep getting the income. And if they do this for an Apple and a Tesla and eventually every major part of the index, they're going to have the whole world taken over, in our opinion. And so it's best to, as YouTube content makers, to keep covering Yieldmax because they're going to be here for the foreseeable future. They also mentioned that at the panel, is this trend around, to stay? And even on the Bloomberg interview I was on recently in the Trillions podcast, if you go to my website, you can see more about that Bloomberg interview. And I need to put my Trillions podcast up there as well. But they said that with the legal changes in 2019 that Yieldmax is here to stay as well. So if it's here to stay and we can use this income to live financially free, then why not neutralize it with SLTY? Use Ulti to neutralize with SLTY. I hope he releases it. A lot of people don't like inverse funds, and that kind of scares Jay from releasing inverse funds because people think that the erosion is too bad or they don't like losing. But when you're using margin, you're neutralizing your risk and you're living financially free without any stress. And the correlation was quite good. And on X, Jay even said yesterday, watch out for the correlation. And I said, I postulated to him that actually the correlation was pretty good. And he did agree, but he has to say, be careful. You never know if the correlation is going to be 1 for 1 with Ulti and SLTY. But nonetheless, it was great with Winter and Misty and Tesla and Crash, Nvidia and dips, et cetera, et cetera. We had days where the inverses worked better than the longs of the same side of that coin. When we had Winter down, let's say, when we had Misty down, let's say 10% in one day, some days that Winter could have been down up 12%. I apologize. Sorry, guys. The inverses, the longs and shorts, it's hard to say all this at one time sometimes. So we saw great performance out of those. And I think that SLTY could accomplish the same thing with Ulti. And that brings me to my next point. Should we explore YMAX if we can use Ulti as our kind of diversified approach and hedge it with SLTY? Why would we even need YMAX. Well, look at that chart of Ulti. All right, you see that it goes sideways. It's up huge. I mean, today, 1.4%, that's huge. When you look above, the market's up 0.82%. So Ulti is actually outperforming the market. Some people hate Ulti. I don't think there's any reason for that. They just look at charts and they see that they go down. And everyone knows when if you read the Bible, it says you need to have a repentance, which means a change of mind. It says be renewed in knowledge daily. Okay, it says there are many themes in the Bible that talks about how you need to change the way you see the world, and you need to follow the truth and the principle instead. Okay, in Book of John, God is principle, truth, spirit, as we always say. And the truth is the numbers. Okay, the truth, the math is all that you need to be following for Ulti. And you can see on a daily basis, today was at 1.4. The last few days, it's been up 1%, it seems like, every day. And it goes sideways on the chart, gives you that 80% yield. And so the returns for Ulti have been quite good for us, especially over the last 3 months. Ulti had a nice bounce off the lows as well, 5.45 versus, so it went from 5.45 right here to about $6. Now let's go compare that to YMAX. And you'll see that YMAX had a nice bounce here as well from 1170 to 13.75. Call it 14. So, you could say a 20% bounce right here from $12 to $14. And Ulti, which is at a different level on its chart, admittedly, bounced from, 540 to 620. Okay, if we go do the math on that really quickly, 540 to 620 is 14%. And then obviously 12 to 14 is 16%. So YMAX had a little bit better of a bounce back. Okay, so that's why you kind of need both of these in your portfolio, YMAX and Ulti, because YMAX will give you a little bit more days gains ability. It'll give you a little bit more bounce back potential. Ulti goes sideways, so does YMAX. Generally goes sideways, but you can see there's a chance for a little bit more upside appreciation with YMAX. You just need all the holdings within it to start moving. And so, again, I need both funds in my account, YMAX and Ulti, but where would I put my next $10,000 to work? That's the big question. Well, everyone knows here at my channel that I'm trying to get capital gains and compounding. Okay, compounding is the way to offset this erosion with Yieldmax. Okay, everyone's talking about the fact that the charts decay and they cannot stand that. But I always say factor back in dividends, of course, and you don't have that same erosion. But nonetheless, you need compounding. YMAX gives you a little bit better potential to compound, all right, than Ulti does. Ulti, you can compound the dividends, but you can't really compound your gains. And you don't want to just drip Ulti to compound your dividends if you want to go that route, because then you never pay down your margin. You want to drip Ulti on dips, in my opinion. I know a lot of people hate to hear that. They want to drip right away. But the only thing that I'll drip is Cornerstone, because Cornerstone has the drip at NAV. It's the only fund that has a 20% dividend that's totally indexed. There are no questionable names within Cornerstone. It is the index itself. You'll see that CRF is 4-star rated on Morningstar. When I saw that, it was the truth to me. It's the principle of investing that you need to be in the indexes. But if you're going to be in the indexes, you have to have something with a high enough yield to be worthwhile. You can't go with VU or SPY because they won't pay your bills on a downturn. Cornerstone matched the indexes, as you can see here, and it gave you a 20% dividend all the while that was paying you during the downturns. But the best part about Cornerstone is, and look at the chart, by the way, everyone always asks me, why is it down 95% year to date? It's not down 95% year to date. Again, the Bible says to have a repentance. It says you have to change the way that you look at the world. You have to deny the world and your senses, and you have to go with the facts and the truth. And the truth is that here's the chart for Cornerstone. It matches the index. It goes upward, left to right, and it's 4-star. But the best part about Cornerstone is the drip. 20% premiums we get. So we get a 20% dividend with Cornerstone. We get days gains like we're getting today. We're at 0.33 with CRF, which is in line with the indexes. Okay. And you get the 20% gain every month dripped at the NAV. Look at this bounce that we've had with Cornerstone over the past month or two. I told everyone to be buying right here because we played Cornerstone properly around the rights offering. We sold right here, okay? And then we bought right here with Cornerstone. How do we do that? It was all in our Discord, okay? When you buy my e-guides, you get Discord for life. Discord is free for life. It's the best Discord chat room in the world. When you buy my e-guides, and we get the Cornerstone rights offering announcement here. So if you need help playing Cornerstone around the rights offerings, that's in my volume 4 e-guide. And you get the Cornerstone rights offering announcement here in Discord when you buy my e-guide. So this is how we sold out at the top. Here are the alerts right here. We got the, this is the announcement channel right here, of course. And then the alert for Cornerstone, I show you on every video. It is right here, Cornerstone rights offering announcement only. Right when we got the N2 filing for Cornerstone. I mean, I'm just proud. This is how I got my performance today. My performance over the course of the year, we're up 20%. It's from the triple C's, the triples, and Cornerstone. Now Ulti is really helping me out, of course. But Cornerstone's giving me those capital gains. And this is where I drip. I will not drip Yieldmax. I will drip Cornerstone. If I drip Yieldmax, then I don't pay off my margin, and I'm risking everything at the highs. If the market falls, I'm so top heavy, I'm going to lose a lot of performance, and I have no dry powder to buy the lows. But with Cornerstone, I absolutely drip because we were getting 30% gains last year, every month, 37% premiums. We've had 40% plus. In 2021, we got 100% gain in Cornerstone. That's how I went from 15,000 to about $1 million now in my account. It was all Cornerstone, okay? The triple C's were how I got my account from 15 after Corona back up to 100,000, and then I used my margin with 100,000 with the triple C's to get back to, about 400,000 to 500,000. That's when I started my YouTube channel. Then when we got to 400,000 to 500,000, Yieldmax came out, and that's when I really started leveling up my account with the Yieldmax dividends. They were paying down my margins so fast, I was really growing my account exponentially. So this is the rights offering announcement once again, and that's what you have to do with closed-end funds like Cornerstone. You have to play them properly around their rights offerings. It's how you really level up, okay? It's telling you when to buy and sell. We sold right here, bought right here, and look at this massive run it's had once again. So we're getting this massive run here from 7 to 8. We're collecting the 20% dividend in Cornerstone, and we're getting these drip gains at the NAV every month. 20% gains on top of our gains every month. That's what's so great about dripping Cornerstone. Okay, so I won't drip Ulti and YMAX for the growth. Where else can I get my growth from Ulti and YMAX? Well, I told you YMAX kind of grows on its own. It grows a little bit more than Ulti, but we can't get our growth from the compounding of the dividends in these because I just told you why it doesn't work to drip these funds. I like to drip on dips, not drip every dividend, but drip on dips. That's how we really get more performance out of these. So where am I getting the performance then? It's through, I just told you, the triple C's, the compounding of Cornerstone. Because if you put 100,000 in Cornerstone, you only have to get a 10% gain to get 10,000. Whereas if you put 10,000 in Ulti, you have to get a 100% gain to get $10,000. So it's much easier for me to make money on Cornerstone. It's going to grow while paying my bills and give me those drip gains every month. So that's why we're all so enamored by Cornerstone at my channel, and that's where we're getting our growth. Lastly, I get my growth from these options, okay? Now, I know that a lot of members start to kind of cringe when I talk about options. I don't know why, okay? Selling options is the best way to get ahead, in my opinion, without the risk, all right? Look at these BidX options. They just continue to melt up in gains, all right? Even if they go sideways, we win. That's the beauty about selling options, okay? We sell the options, and Yieldmax will not do this for us because I asked them in the Spaces interview yesterday on X, I asked them, can you start to use the triples for your income approach? And they can use them in something like an Ulti. It has to be wrapped into a basket like an Ulti, or let's say if they did Bitcoin, they could do some sort of leveraged Bitcoin vehicle with a Bitcoin basket like LFGY or something they were saying. But to get pure triple exposure, they can't do it. So I have to sell my own options. I know YieldBoost will also sell options on the triples, which is why I like YieldBoost so much. YSPY, TQQY. I've talked about Granite shares and YieldBoost in the past, but I sell my own options so that I can lower my margin myself. If I buy YieldBoost, it just raises my margin. If I sell my options, which are naked level 3 options, then I lower my margin. I've lowered my margin by $50,000 to $100,000 just by clicking my mouse. I click a mouse and I get the premiums immediately. And then I just let time go by and you just keep getting these gains. So I can either take this $7,000 gain now, or I can take the $17,000 gain upon expiration. I always want performance with my options. People don't really understand why I'm in my options. I'm in options for more performance, index performance, daily. I want daily gains potential. I want less volatility when the market falls because these options allow for lower volatility. I want to pay down my margin and I want to lower my margin interest. If you need help selling options like I do, that's in my Volume 6 e-guide. I'm also not worried about my margin interest because I've negotiated my rates down twice. Okay, my margin rates are below 5%, and many of my members have negotiated their rates down as well. You get the script when you buy my e-guides. You get my phone number when you buy my e-guides, and you get Discord access free for life when you buy my e-guides. And that's why my channel is so special, is because I'm close to every one of my members. I'm exhausted. When I made it back from New York, I was on the phone with Lance the entire time on the way up to the closing bell, for example. To that ceremony, I was on the call with Lance. When I got out, I was on a call with, I think it was Bruce, and so many other people, okay? And by the way, speaking of that, for everyone who joined my SMS service, okay, I have you entered into the system. I just couldn't send you a welcome letter yet. But Chris, I see you. Chris Hunt. All right, Alex, I got you in today. I just want to shout y'all out. Christoph, okay, thank you. You're all set now. Aaron, Paul, okay, you're set. And Bill, LP, Carl, I just want to let y'all know that I appreciate y'all, and y'all are all set on the SMS, even though I didn't send a welcome letter. I've just been so swamped the last couple of days. Greg, you're all set. Big time, Ron, there you go. And Mark, also, you're all set. So I wanted to shout y'all in this video instead of sending that welcome letter. I hope that will suffice. All right, so if I had to pick where my next 10,000 is going with YMAX and ULTY, what I'm going to do is I'm picking ULTY. I'm putting 10,000 more into ULTY. Here's why. First of all, I would put it into YMAX or ULTY depending on how big my position size is. Okay, everyone knows that I use position sizing here at my channel to get ahead. So let's say YMAX, for example. If YMAX got below, here's YMAX in my portfolio. If it got below 100,000, let's say to 90,000, I would buy 10,000 simply to rebalance it. But ULTY, I'm underinvested in. I'm underinvested ULTY, and once again, and so I need to get this up to about 150. So I'm at 140 right now. I need to put 10,000 more in to get to 150. That would be 10% of my account in ULTY, and I'm okay with having no more than 10 because I don't like risking my account in any one name. Obviously, my largest holdings in my account are Cornerstone, CRF. You can see that we're up 14% in this. So not only, you see how we get the day's gains in Cornerstone, okay? The day's gains stay there, whereas with ULTY, you get the dividends, but you don't get the gains. See how we're down 9,800 with ULTY? That's not true. We're not down 9,800. You have to factor back in dividends. I don't reinvest my dividends, so they don't show in this total gains column here, of course, okay? You have to go to my total performance, and that's how you see we're up 20% for the year, okay? If you're just joining this show now, you see we're up 20%. A lot of people say, you're up, you've made a lot of money, but you're down in your position, so how is that real? Because you have to factor back in dividends, and I don't reinvest my dividends automatically. I only drip Cornerstone for that NAV advantage. So we're up this much because we use Cornerstone the way that we do around the rights offerings. And that's why, if you look here in the portfolio, you'll see Cornerstone is actually green for us, whereas ULTY is red. So we're getting days gains with Cornerstone, and we're getting dividends. That's how we're really getting ahead. We're getting best of both worlds with Cornerstone, and that's absolutely imperative for you to know. All right, you have to combine Yieldmax with the triple C's. Cornerstone, that's volume 4, and the triple C's, that's volume 7. Okay, you have to use them properly. Can't just buy them, by the way. You can't just buy Cornerstone or the triples. You have to use them properly. Use Cornerstone around the rights offerings. I've warned you. use them properly around the premium thresholds, not just the rights offerings, but premium thresholds. And with the triples, you don't just buy the triples outright. There's a system to doing that. We lay that all out in volume 7. All right, so we're getting our growth from Cornerstone that way, and the options as I just laid out. The options are a huge part of my success here. But where am I going to put the next 10K? It's going to be in Ulti because I'm underinvested in the position and because I like to use margin to get ahead. And Ulti is just a pure margin paydown tool where I can just use Ulti to grow my account through margin reduction rather than through share price gains. And I just need, I'm underinvested in Ulti. Again, 10% would be 150,000. Why not get YMAX up to 10%? Why not bring my other positions up to 10% as well? Because they were 10% at one time. They were all 100,000 on $1 million account. Why not bring them up equivalently? Because they have high maintenance, as I've already laid out to y'all. Cornerstone, the secret with Cornerstone is it has 30% maintenance. So that's why I hide in Cornerstone, because I can preserve so much more of my equity, get the gains, the capital gains, get the dividends. Am I talking about Cornerstone too much right now? I don't care what anyone says about Cornerstone. If you want to live financially free out of your brokerage account, this is what you have to do. If you want to go watch other channels for entertainment where they just kind of talk about I don't even know what these other channels are talking about, honestly. I met a lot of these folks at the conference with Yieldmax, and they are great people, but I still can't understand what they're doing to help you live financially free. Okay, I need to not only get my dividends, but I need to live free. All right, I don't want to just discuss what the yield's going to be for a certain fund or whatever. Like, that has nothing to do with what we do. We can't control that here. So all we can control are the way that we get our gains around the Cornerstone rights offering announcements. That's how I like to play Cornerstone personally, because the market never tells you when to buy and sell. Cornerstone will tell you when to buy and sell through the premium thresholds. And then we can control our gains through our margin and through our maintenance. All right, and that's all we can control. And then with that, we can also withdraw out of our account. This is the real stuff you need to live financially free and make an impact in your life. That's why I started my channel. A lot of people have regrets when they die. I saw the top 25 regrets the other night from hospice workers. And 2 of the top 25 regrets were that they didn't take enough risk before they died and that they worked their entire lives. So here at my channel, I started this channel to dispel the myths on margin and to allow you to teach you how to use it without taking the risk. Okay, there's a way to do it safely where you can have a little bit more fun, a little bit more return and growth and income to live your life, but without the risk. Right, and that's all again in my Volume 3 e-guide. And also, we're teaching you how to live free from 9 to 5, so you don't have to work your whole life at a job. All right, and if you do work a job that you do like or you don't like, use that income to combine with your dividend income, maybe use a little bit more margin, and now you take the pressure off yourself. All right, but there's a key to doing this all, and it's all in my e-guides, okay? Email me for my e-guides at akatot48@gmail.com if you need help living financially free out of your brokerage account. I'm going to go ahead and get to the Q&A session now. I just want to say one more thing. Defiance made their change officially, okay? This is the last announcement I had for y'all. And that change is that they're swapping from the puts to the calls. One of my members alerted me. That's what's so great about my community, is that my members alert me with all this great information. I remember Akeem brought it to us first in our Discord, and then Jose brought it to me in my text messages because I stay close with all of my members in my texts. All right. Again, I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed by all those texts, but I still love it, and I love all you guys and gals so much that I don't mind having y'all in my phone, in my text, asking me questions whenever you need me, because it also helps keep me sharp, all right, and keeps me close to y'all. So I really don't mind at all. If it's taking me a little bit longer to respond to y'all's comments, just give me a break. I just got back from NYC and I am just exhausted. All right, so that Defiance announcement was huge. I'm going to be, rotating out of those funds. You can watch in my members only videos what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Okay, members will go live tomorrow. We go live at the beginning and the end of each week, and sometimes in the middle if there's an emergency. And you'll see in this next video how I do my Defiance positioning going forward. Okay, so check that out. tomorrow. All my members, stay tuned for that. I hope y'all enjoyed the little clip I showed y'all with Jay. Also, he said reverse splits don't matter, okay, in the X Spaces yesterday, and in the interview yesterday. He's like, I asked him about splits and raising our available withdrawal, and he said that people hate the splits, and he doesn't know why, because it doesn't change anything. And I'm like, I know, I'm trying to bring awareness to this myself. So here y'all heard it again for, the millionth time, that if we could, these dividends from Yieldmax and ULTY and YMAX should be sustainable, because they'll just eventually reverse split. And if they go to zero, or they'll never go to zero, but if they keep going down and down, if you just keep the shares, you keep getting the same income. So nothing changes either way. But if we got that reverse split, we'd get a maintenance reduction, which would raise our available withdrawal, which would be awesome. Hey, Todd, how to access your Discord? Okay, you just buy my eGuides animals. Either email me for those eGuides or go to my website right here, and you can see the bundles here. You go to Get Started, and you see the bundles. And that's when you buy any bundle, you get Discord access for life, and you get my number for life. Twilight, does Robinhood, Charles Schwab have similar maintenance costs? It depends. I would go to our Discord, Twilight, because they have all the variances of the maintenance there. John Cruz, welcome. All right, thanks for joining, John. Rossi, how's using YQQ a hedge when the price continues to erode? Rossi, that's what hedges do. The prices erode, and so when something else is going up, the other will go down. But when a down market occurs, YQQ will help. Rico, don't have Ulti and YMAX. Makes no sense. Rico, I would say go look at the returns. I mean, the returns of YMAX up 37% last year. That made a lot of sense to me. Rob, and then of course we're up 20% this year. That's thanks to the triple C's and Ulti and YMAX on margin. It definitely makes sense to me. Rob, YMAX options premiums aren't that great. I agree. I don't sell options on YMAX. I sell my own options, as y'all saw in that section of my portfolio. S-Rod, they aren't 100% break even, but they help you in down markets. The benefit is their insurance while collecting a dividend. Of course. I mean, how do people not get that? Tiger, I'm using Ulti and YMAX at an anchor level, paychecks for days. I only use maybe 15%, reinvest the rest after a couple months of saving. Exactly, and hopefully on a dip, Tiger. I hear you loud and clear on that. Todd, did you meet Mark from Retire on Dividends? He's a really good guy. Yes, I did meet him. I met them all. But one thing I can't stress enough is like actually living out of the account, living free. Okay, I'm after the stuff like maintenance and reverse splits to raise maintenance, and how to get more growth with compounding outside of Yieldmax. And I don't hear anyone there talking about, if you're not talking about Cornerstone, then I don't know what you're talking about. Because if you're not talking about Cornerstone, then you can't be getting any growth anywhere else besides with the triple C's, which is all I ever talk about. SPYI, Schwab D, none of those grow enough. And I just, they're all great guys though. I admit, I had a fun time. They're great guys. I just didn't see any of them talk, I didn't find any like-minded people. That's all I could say. No like-minded people. They just like dividends like I do. But they don't use them the way I do. Gerald, I took a killing with Tesla and Crash. I still have both, but Crash is down 70%, not including the div. Yeah, the shorts are going to lose more than the longs, but if you're buying the shorts at the highs and you're rebalancing them, at the lows like we did, we took profits at the lows and Crash, took some profits, so we're playing with house money essentially with Crash. That's how you really outperform, Gerald. You have to actually use them in the time of a crash and then trim them at that time and rebalance at the highs and lows. Net asset value has to just be ignored because he's just not saying it. Like, for example, net asset value, he says CLM keeps going down, no stable NAV. It's like, did you see the chart just then? The Morningstar chart that I showed you. Sometimes I just can't understand it. Like, here, if you're watching this right now, look, here is the chart for Cornerstone. Tell me, where is the erosion net asset value? Your name is net asset value. So you should know that as you're looking at this chart, they all look the same. The NAVs here are growing. Okay, so CRF right here is in line with the index. And if you played CRF properly around the rights offerings, okay, then you could have blown away the indexes. This doesn't factor back in you nailing it with the RO. All right, so, what can you say to that? Please, whoever's hating on Cornerstone right now or Yieldmax, okay? What can you say if I were to show you the total returns for YMAX, were 37% last year or whatever they were, okay? And Let's go look at what the gain is this year. Since inception, 24% YMAX. Since inception, okay, that was a year ago, okay, 2024. It's up 24%. So how does this not make, how do you say these don't make any sense? How is anyone saying these things on my channel? I'm sitting here live with you, net asset value. CLM keeps going down, no stable nav. I'm sorry, okay? I just showed you the Morningstar chart, and I just showed you the 1-year chart on Cornerstone with E-Trade. So what are you talking about, net asset value? I'm sorry, I apologize. Hey, Patty, that's my mom. Thanks. By far, this is the best investing channel. Well, thanks, Mom. Of course, she would say that. That's my mom, so she has a bit of a bias, everyone. I love you so much, Mom. Jonathan, history is on Todd's side with his returns in up, down, and sideways markets net asset value. Your theories do not hold up to his reality. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Yeah, I appreciate the support, brother. Yeah, you've seen me trade through these, last few months with our members-only videos. You've seen the performance that we're getting every single day. And all of my members are getting similar performance who have been with me. All right? Super Chad, just want to say I've been following your system for a year and it's resilient. I track everything via a spreadsheet, factoring in dividends back into my total returns up 24%. Way to go, Super Cachet. All right? Excellent job. Fantastic results. Thanks for the comment. Thanks for being a part of the community as well and being a valued member. I appreciate you. S-Rod, I invest like Todd. I make $129K in divs. Shoom, Todd, what do you mean Yieldmax changed from puts to calls? I'm saying Defiance changed from puts to calls. We'll talk about more of that in my members videos next. Okay, not all Defiance funds either, just the ones that we cover. Okay, but they did have that change with, for example, IWY, QQY. I saw the pictures from Jose, and we need to go back over them tomorrow in the members only video so we can dig through the details a little. Silver, I think it's nearly impossible to lose a Cornerstone. I know, especially if you just hold it for 5 years. That's 20% dividend times 5 years. That's 100% payback. Total returns is the truth serum, Tiger. Yes, it is. I would love to hear net asset value come back from those arguments or whoever else was trashing Yieldmax. Kool-Aid, can anyone give me an honest review? What would you like an honest review of, Kool-Aid? Let us know. Jim, added Ulti today and moving on to Cornerstone next week. Hey, Jim, good to see you. All right, I enjoyed our talk the other day. Kool-Aid, is it worth joining? Okay. All right, so I think Kool-Aid wants others to give him an honest review and say, is this worth joining? Okay. Okay, let's see what my members say, because I know they always back me up, because they know I'm always here for them, so they're always here for me. Kool-Aid, S-Rod says, Kool-Aid, as far as I know, all members have been successful, and especially in the recent down market, we all came back strong. Thanks, S-Rod. What a nice comment. Okay, so as far as he knows, all members have been successful. Okay, that's a pretty good track record. All members, I would say, yeah, most members, if they kind of, stopped following my strategies and didn't buy when I bought at the lows and didn't follow my members-only videos, they might have different performance. You can track all my moves here. Visit my channel. You can see here, membership section. You might have to go to your desktop to set that up. What's the daddy? I made money through prudent investing. You can make plenty of money working consistently while everyone else is risking it big for laziness. S-Rod, or you can put your money to work for you. Yeah, that's what I think that's the best way to work. Your dollars can work a lot harder for you than you can work at your 9 to 5. So S-Rod, I totally agree there. Caleb, keep up the great work. Thank you. I'll do my best. S-Rod, what's up? I have a full-time job, but my divs have surpassed my paychecks, and I'm retiring in 3 years at 40. Yeah, S-Rod. So, yeah, I agree with you. What's the daddy that you can make money through working, but not enough, okay? And the statistics show that, okay? 50% of people are paycheck to paycheck. 78% of people are unfulfilled with their jobs. And they can have money, but they can't use it until they're 70, until they're older, and then they have penalties and withdrawal. It's just a big mess. Use your brokerage account. That's why I always say financially free out of a brokerage account. You still get tax advantages there, too, because they're ROC. Dividends for Cornerstone are ROC, tax-free until you sell. Same for Yieldmax. What's up, Daddy? It says, I could have done that 5 years ago with Todd's plan. That would have been nice. Wreck-It Ralph, Kool-Aid shower. The cost of entry is so cheap, the e-guides, that you cannot go wrong. I jumped in March, 34 30 to 40% margin, and just hit the 350K dividend club this week. Way to go, Rick and Ralph. All right, thanks for that compliment. This is great. I love this. This gives me a lot of new energy. Joy Boy, I got 5 shares of Ulti this week. Just getting started. Hey, you got to start somewhere. Way to go, Joy Boy. Proud of you. Let me know how that goes. We're all here for you. Shum, been a member for more than a year. Thank you, Shum. That really means a lot to me, all of you guys. Luigi, okay, I have about 7K on Ulti. How do I use margin to increase my dividend? Well, call me, Luigi. It's a little more nuanced than that. Also, check out my Volume 3E guide if you need more help using margin. TJ also says hey to Luigi because he's really big into Mario right now. Jetta, yes, join. Well worth the investment. Thanks, Jetta. Yes, join. Well worth the investment. Thanks again, Jetta. And that's my pride and joy right there. All my members are my pride and joy, and my admin are just, I'm just so thankful for them. Okay, Jetta and Frosty, can't thank y'all enough. SI, great information. You're welcome, SI. Southern, I called E-Trade to ask for company sponsored drift for Cornerstone. They told me it's automatic to alert me in my profile. That's correct, Southern. That's correct. Now they've changed that. Okay. So Capital says absolutely worth it. I'm up 26% year to date. Thanks, Capital. Really appreciate you too. And that's great performance. Way to go. Vintage at Kool-Aid. I retired last December thanks to Todd's strategy. I make between $5,000 and $7,000 a month in divs, beating the markets all the time. Thanks, Vintage. Great job. Way to go. Thanks for answering Kool-Aid's question. I'm so glad that my members are here for me. I know that they're always going to get my back. And I love y'all so much. That's what makes these lives so much fun, okay? Jonathan, Kool-Aid, if you like beating the markets...
Hey, Kool-Aid.
Jonathan, if you like beating the markets, then I would say it's worth joining. I'm up 16% year to date, which would be higher if it were not for some mistakes I made. With Todd, I'm still beating the indexes. Way to go, Jonathan. Thank you so much for that compliment, Jonathan. Oh, man, I love it. Joy Boy, I just started doing research into Yieldmax. How are they sustainably paying out these dividends? By using the implied volatility and selling options there. That's always there. The implied volatility is always there, so the options are always there. The high income is always there. Maybe it'll fluctuate, but that's where they're getting the high yields from. It's off of the IV, the implied volatility of the options, not the earnings. Ray, held Ulti and YMAX for 7 weeks, and Ulti beat YMAX by 40% in returns, plus better appreciation. Great information, Ray. Yeah, it depends on which information you use, but Ulti has, by some metrics, blown away everything. Brian, I also hit the 350K dividend club this week using Todd's strategy. I did a double this year. Way to go, Brian. Great to hear that. Thanks for the comment, Brian. All right, so once again, we're up 20% for the year, beating all of the indexes. We're up 13,000 today, 13,500, which, as you can see above, is 0.67%, and that is beating the S&P, which is up 0.64. If you go factor back in my margin, we're up much more than that. Okay, that's how we're blowing away the indexes year to date. It's because of our margin, Cornerstone, and Yieldmax. If you need help doing the same, email me for my e-guides at aikentod48@gmail.com. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you saw the merits of Ulti and YMAX and why I'm putting the next 10K to work in the fund that I chose. Okay, watch the entire video to see why I chose the fund that I did to put my next 10K to work. And if y'all have questions about anything, please let me know. Remember, when you buy my e-guides, you get free Discord access for life and my phone number for life, so keep that in mind. All right, if you like this video, everyone, please click like or subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon, everyone. Thanks.